The Trouble with Trillions is an episode of The Simpsons where I don't quite know how I feel about it. I didn't love it. Looking back on it, there wasn't anything in it that I really particularly enjoyed, but at the same time, I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike watching it. So I'm kind of on the fence. It's got 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, which is in general quite a low rating for The Simpsons, but pretty consistent with season 9. So it seems like I agree with most people. Homer ends up spying for the IRS because of what happens during an audit. And this starts to involve Mr. Burns and a $1 trillion bill. And I don't want to say too much more about what happens with it, but he ends up taking extreme action with Mr. Burns and going to places you might not have expected. And I can't really say much more than that without spoiling it. I think it's good to go into it with no real idea about exactly how it unfolds, because I think for me watching it, part of the thing that kept me interested, because I didn't really care about the whole IRS aspect of it. I think maybe because I'm British, I don't have any dealings with the IRS, so there's, that absence of relatability. Not like I need to relate to every episode of The Simpsons, but sometimes it helps if there are other things that aren't really impressing me. But because it takes pretty drastic directions, it kept me interested because I wasn't expecting a lot of it, and that meant it was quite fascinating, but not completely fascinating. I do, as I've mentioned before, though, like it when Homer and Mr. Burns work together, or they have some kind of partnership, or we just get to see different sides to either character when they're working together, and that's something that I always like. I'm a fan of Mr. Burns. I do like the character quite a lot, particularly when we get to see different sides of him. Maybe different sides isn't the right approach with this particular episode, but we get to see a lot more of him. And that's something that I liked. So it's never going to be one of my favourite episodes, and it's not even one of my favourite episodes in season 9. But that being said, I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was particularly a problematic episode. It was not bad. It was okay. I'd watch it again at some point, but I'm certainly not in a hurry to do so. Not ever my favourite, but there's nothing specific I can point to as saying, well, I wish that had been done differently, or I wish that had been done differently. So it's okay, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's one of those episodes that's, for me, just fine.